Dear Lord, thank you for getting us here safely. Thank you for reconvening this meeting as we deliberate this all-important national issue. We ask that you hasten the steps of those who are on their way and you guide them here safely. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Member. We have some apologies for absence from Senator Pernell Charles and MP Mark Golden. All right, I want to welcome you again, members of the Joint Select Committee. My name is Favour Williams, the Minister of Science, Energy and Technology and chairperson of this committee. We're reconvening after, I think, more than a year. The last meeting was held on March 27, 2018. And I'd like to call this phase 3. And to say that we've moved from phase 1, which included a presentation of the bill and the receipt of written and oral submissions from various stakeholders. We moved through phase 2, in which the ministry did quite a bit of research and mapping of the various submissions to the various clauses and providing their own comments, along with those of the AGC on submissions from stakeholders. And there was a document that was emailed to the members, and it looks like this. It would have come from the ministry, Data Protection Matrix. And on your desk in front of you right now, you will have this document. It was compiled by Parliament. The content should be the same, but the format is a little bit different in both, whereas the one you have currently, the hard copy one, lays out the comments from all the stakeholders across the page. The one that you have in soft copy right now from the ministry lays out the information in 4 columns. The first would be the clause. The next one would be the stakeholders' comments. Research findings would be in the other column, and then analysis and recommendation from the ministry. We won't be taking these in this meeting this afternoon, just to allow you time to read, reflect, and digest, because I know it's a lot of information. So in this phase, or in the third phase I'm calling it, we will be reviewing the submissions and making comparisons with the laws of other jurisdictions, and we'll be bringing our own thoughts to bear on the bill. On completion of deliberations, in terms of all the meetings that are lined up, the committee clerk will prepare a report which will be submitted to Parliament along with any recommendations for amendments to the bill. Since the tabling of the bill, there's been a lot of discourse which shows public interest and the anticipation of the citizenry for the new regime that this bill is about to usher in. You will recall that the Joint Select Committee appointed to consider and report on the bill held its first meeting on November 22nd, 2017. A total of 8 meetings were held, the last being on March 27, 2018. At the first meeting of the committee, members agreed that in examining the bill, it would take a consultative approach, and by way of public notices in the Sunday Jamaica Observer and the Sunday Gleaner newspapers on November 26, 2017, December 17, 2017, and January 7, 2018, members of the public were invited to make submissions on the bill. We received and heard submissions from 25 entities and individuals. And these were the Information Technology Industry Council, Latin American Internet Association, Digicel Jamaica Limited, the National Consumers League of Jamaica, the United States of America Chamber of Commerce, the Slash Roots Foundation and Make Better Community, Jamaica Information Technology and Services Alliance and the Jamaica Computer Society, JN Bank Limited, the Jamaica Bar Association, Credit Info Jamaica Limited, Lawyers Christian Fellowship Jamaica / the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society, Flow / Cable and Wireless Jamaica Limited and Columbus Communications Jamaica Limited, Broadcasting Commission, Media Association Jamaica Limited, National Identification System Project Unit, Office of the Prime Minister, Mr. Denton Phillips, Software Developer Professional, Ms. Shaita Peart, Information Governance Consultant, Mr. David Holland, Data Management Consultant, Ms. Helen Ann Elizabeth Wilkerson, Ms. Justine Collins and Mr. Andre Shackelford, the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Jamaica Bankers Association, Press Association of Jamaica, Financial Investigations Division, Jamaica AIDS Support for Life. Some persons have asked why has there been such a long pause between the last meeting on March 27, 2018 and this meeting held here today. And I just want to say that the submissions in their totality were voluminous. We received over 271 submissions on almost all the clauses and general comments. In this bill, there are 77 clauses plus 4 schedules plus memo of objects and reasons. The ministry staff had to summarize those submissions, engage in additional research along with the guidance of AGC, which is then laid out in a matrix and provide the ministry's position as well. It was a lot of work. It took time. It resulted in a document that is 125 legal pages long. But we believe that it's clearly laid out, as I said, in terms of the clauses, the comments or submissions from the stakeholders, research looking across jurisdiction, and then the ministry's own position. We have scheduled 3 meetings, this being one of them. In the next 2 meetings, the plan is to take half of the clauses in the next meeting and the other half in the following meeting, and to see if we can wrap up after that. Just as a reminder, the quorum of the committee is 5 members, which is inclusive of the chairman. And for this meeting today, Ms. Murray, our Chief Technical Director in the ICT Division at MSET, will make a presentation. And in terms of who we have here today, we have the technical persons from the AGC, the Legal Reform Department, and the OPC, along with Legislative Council of Parliament. I think we also have Ms. Kadian Smith-Newton, our Principal Director in the ICT Division, and Dr. Oliphant. Okay. For this meeting, we'll do a presentation to summarize the comments and the submissions that would have been made on the clauses in the bill to refresh your minds. As Ms. Murray goes through, I'm going to ask that you note or hold your questions so that she could go through the totality to get everybody refreshed again in terms of the information. But before Ms. Murray begins, I want to ask everyone a question. Would you recognize your digital self from all the data that exists about you? While you ponder that, I want to alert us that the market for purchasing personal data is growing. For a modest fee in many parts of the world, total strangers can gain access to persons' mobile phone records, addresses, passport details, and even bank security codes. To find out how easy it was to get a hold of personal data, a foreign reporter wrote in an article that he contacted one online entity and requested the personal data of someone else. The reporter said that within a day, and for a small amount of money, A file was emailed to him containing extracts not only from that person's current passport, but from every passport that person had held since the age of 14. Members knowing a lot about us is becoming a huge market. Data protection laws that we have in Jamaica, or the data protection laws that we in Jamaica are seeking to enact, are being done to protect the data of our citizens by providing each of us with rights over our data, by imposing rules on the way in which companies and governments use data, and by establishing regulators to enforce the law. Having said that, data protection laws are not new. They've been around in some countries dating back to the 1960s. Countries really began to sit up and take notice in the 1990s as more persons started using computers and access databases, and there was a recognition that entities were beginning to buy and sell our personal data. In the world in which we live today, new opportunities are emerging for businesses in what's called big data, which is really the ability to take large quantities of data, perform analytics, do data sharing, tracking, and profiling. For businesses, this is great. This is a gold mine. It may not be for us as individuals whose data that they're using. There are over 7.3 billion people in the world as of 2017. As each of us is beginning to know now, the spaces and environments we inhabit and pass through generate and collect data about our behavior. Data can be generated from lots of places. The devices we wear and carry with us, the appliances we have in our homes, our phones, sensors in our transport and on our streets, all generate more and more data. Data protection laws are an important and fundamental starting point to ensure that we as citizens have rights over our personal data and that there is governance framework in place, that there's effective implementation and enforcement, that there's an independent regulator or authority appointed to ensure the law is enforced, and that the regulator must have the mandate and resources to conduct investigations, act on complaints, and impose fines when they discover an organization has broken the law. Many countries also recognize that an important safeguard is a strong and critical civil society with the ability to raise complaints, research abuses, and be constantly vigilant of implementation. Having said that,
Chair, I so move for confirmation of the minutes.
I take it there are no comments or corrections for the minutes. So moved by Member Robinson and seconded by Member Morrison. Thank you. Are there any matters arising from the minutes? Let me add that we have received a submission from the DPP. I think there was mention in the minutes that the DPP would be so. No, I thought I read that. What was that? In terms of matters arising from the minutes, the Jamaica Bankers Association had sent a response to a question or an inquiry that member Julian Robinson had raised, whether the JBA would be able to provide any data regarding the cost of implementation borne by financial institutions as a result of coming into compliance with other data protection regimes in the region. The letter was also circulated via email. And the JBA is suggesting that the cost range, when they did the research, the cost range from approximately US $25,000 to about US $1 million, depending on the size of the institution. All right.
The reason I'd asked that, it was in the context of the fees that financial institutions charge to customers, and a concern that I had that the cost of the implementation would be ultimately borne by consumers, whether directly with a fee or indirectly in the overall cost that consumers have to pay. At a later stage, I think it is something that we need to examine as we determine the implementation schedule, because while the bankers are affected, there are a number of other institutions that will so be affected, not just from a cost perspective, but also from the capacity themselves to implement. But I think it is something we'd have to look at and consider, particularly small and medium-sized businesses that are run by one or two individuals.
So noted. So at this point, we'll accept the presentation from the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology with regards to comments from stakeholders on the data protection bill. Oh, okay. There's up there? It's up there? Sorry, I didn't see. Go ahead.
I'm so lonely. You're not afraid of the dark, are you? Don't be afraid. Come with me.
Please, no! Oh my God, please, no!
There's a long-distance relay that's still on. Many have taken it this far, each leg as important as the next, each challenge faced with determination. Now it's your turn to take the baton. People living with HIV and AIDS and those who are vulnerable need your commitment. It stands in the way of a better quality of life for all of us and our self-respect as a region. It stands in the way of victory in the fight to stop the spread of HIV. Reject stigma and discrimination. Get us to zero.
Hi, my name is Dimitri.
And I'm Jamani. And we're here with UNICEF Jamaica,
JN Foundation,
and FIA Foundation.
We are here in Halfway Tree talking to the people about road safety and how it affects us children. Follow us.
How many children died from road traffic crashes in 2017? Is it A, 27, B, 11, or C, 17?
15. No.
Oh, I would guess 11.
No, that's not it.
C17.
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 You are correct. 17 children died since the start of the year. Thank you for participating.
This has been the X Marks the Spot Vox Pop. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Take it down. Reggae music is the heartbeat of the country.
Low and stable inflation
is the heartbeat of the economy.
As an inner city youth, I'm a duty to know my rights. Not because you see me on the corner, you are going to abuse me.
I have a life to live. I deserve to be heard and respected. But know my rights. Do you? Know your laws. Know your rights. Respect you.
Labor for learning before you grow old. For learning is better than silver and gold. Silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay. Educate yourself.
PBCJ is now the source of information about Indian culture. Watch Incredible India on PBCJ and learn more about their homeland, Indian mythology, religion, food, music, and dance. Join us Sundays at 3 p.m. and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. for Incredible India.
Incredible India.
for uplifting entertainment that will change you. Join me, Cassandra, on eGospel, Fridays at 8:30 p.m. The show is packed with quotes from the man who changed the course of history and music videos from Jamaica and the world. The musical journey is on Fridays at 8:30 p.m. with encore performances Saturdays at 8 p.m. and 2 p.m. on Wednesdays. That's eGospel on PBC Jamaica for uplifting entertainment that will change you.
I'm so lonely. You're not afraid of the dark, are you? Don't be afraid. Come with me.
Please, no. Oh my God, please, no.
Jamaica, land of wood and water. That's Jamaica, once covered with lush forests and rivers with clean, clear water. But only a small fraction of our natural forest is still standing, and our water is becoming more and more polluted. But all is not lost.